Bam! Good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. Tonight, it's going to be me and Jumpsuit Pablo, my good friend Paul. We got a lot to cover. We got a lot to talk about. But before we get into it, I want to say a special thank you to the Patreon supporters, the channel members, the folks who subscribe and positively engage in this community. You guys are what makes it a great place. And Ed and I give thanks and praise. And I know Pablo, Jumpsuit Pablo, he loves his community as well. We share that same cross-pollination, if you will, of subscribers. A lot of your folks don't know me. A lot of my folks don't know you. And it's great to intertwine them. And that's what makes this a great place, is that, you know, on YouTube, it's not a competition to me. It's about collaborating with other great creators. And I have my good friend Jumpsuit Pablo here, Paul. You know, we talked about this last week, that we were going to go live with this story, and Wade Wilson is by no means a good person. He's a demon in my eyes, and he had a lot of things going on, a drug problem, documented tough childhood, but he stands accused, and now he's been convicted of capital murder, and we will know on the 27th whether Judge Thompson gives him the death penalty. And heck, today, like, kudos to phone calls from prison. Oh my God, what a channel! What great people, husband and wife team. Gotta love them. They put out so much great work, not just on this case, but on lots of other cases. I went to them for Shonda Vanderrock, and I know that you're leaning heavy on them for this case. Yeah. And they love a good collaboration. So I have them linked in the description. Everyone go subscribe to their channel. But hey, Jumpsuit, what's with Joey, this grandpa homosexual type call that we heard today? I was just like, what? I was like, wait a minute, where is it? I was like,
oh, hell no.
You're still here? It's over.
I said to myself, am I in a, is this like some kind of dream? What were you, listen, before we play the teaser for this, because I want to play this little clip that we have going on. Yeah. It's going to give everybody a little background, but what was your thoughts? I know you said your phone blew up. And
man. Oh, listen, I've, you know, and as you know, and as a lot of people in the chat know, I've covered every single Wade Wilson phone call that's come out to date. And again, shout out the phone calls from prison for that. It wouldn't happen if it wasn't for them. I have not had this many people in just a few hour time frame message me, email me, comment on my videos, comment on old videos, posts, just any way they can think to reach me. Say, please, please, please go check out this new video, this new update with this phone call from Wade Wilson to some man named Joey. Please hurry up and do it. And as you can see from my video, I thought it was his grandfather. So I didn't know what to expect, but boy, was I in for a twist and turn when I finally listened to it.
Yeah, when I heard the guy talking, it was tough. We had to listen with headphones. I had to put enhanced audio on it to hear the actual other end of it, and it was like, you know, all the background noise that was going on from inside the facility. But basically what we heard is him talking like he has some type of relationship going on with this guy Joey, and he said he was either 52 or 53. It sounded like, because he was saying, I've never done a video or a FaceTime with anybody, but they really went into some real intimate, like, conversation about sex and, you know, about blowjobs and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I was like, when I heard him say, I love you and I want to marry you, and the guy was just like, can you come here? He started off the thing with, can you come here and shower with me? He said, Wade said, I'm about to take a shower. He goes, could you come here and take a shower with me? I don't think he caught on to that right away, but then he eventually did. But it was like, holy shit.
And it's you gotta, you know, realize the time frame here of how fast that happened. And that really speaks to what's the motive behind Wade and Joey, and specifically Wade, because, you know, if you've been following my channel, we keep up with every person that Wade makes phone calls with, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, he calls this Joey guy. Mm-hmm. Nobody who's been following these calls knows who Joey is. This is the first we've heard of him. Where did he come from? How did this happen? We learned the phone call they've been trading messages on this kiosk, and it's like an electronic messaging system. But still, I mean, there's not enough messages that could have happened just in the timeline that we know. I mean, this is moving at lightning speed for you to get a message from this man, and within a week at most, start talking about I love you and let's get married. It's ridiculous.
But the common denominator with Wade Wilson is that he tries to get something out of everyone he speaks to. And that's what I'm hearing as like a detective listening, like I listen to key things. And really the main thing, including his father, including anyone he gets on the phone, is like, hey, can you put some money on the books for me? Can you and then he kept saying to this Joey dude, hey, you sent me a package, but maybe you should get your money back for it because I didn't get it. And then he was like, oh, I'll send you another one. He's like, oh, you send me another one? Okay. Like
music to his ears.
Yeah. I want to play for some of my viewers because this is my first video I'm doing. You've done tons of them. You got tons of people who are regulars watching. I want to play this video that Kristen put together, and it was me and you talking a little bit about this in last week, and we promised everyone we would do this. So thank you for coming here. I know this is your second stream or an upload of the day, so I appreciate that. But let's take a listen to it because everyone's going to get to hear a little bit of the case for those of you who don't know about it. And I have a poll up in the chat, so if you want to vote on that poll, and basically the poll. Thank you for the. Oh, look at this! Phone calls from prison, sends in a $50 super sticker. Thank you, guys. Go over and subscribe. This is the channel that makes all this stuff possible. They go out, pay that money to get the all of these requests, and that's what they do, and they do a damn good job.
Great channel, guys. Go check them out.
Yeah, I'm subscribed, and it's linked. If you guys go into the description of this, you can just click the link, and you can click on Jumpsuit Pablo's as well. All right, let's take a listen to this, and we'll be right back to you guys. Yeah, I wish I would have covered this case. I might jump in and do one video on it. Maybe you could join me with that.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to, man.
Okay, so no one told them that. Stop it, Dad.
No,
Give it up, man.
Mila. Listen, when you talk to Mila, the media was next to her. She had it on speaker and heard you.
I know that. I already know that.
This man, Wade Wilson, is accused of brutally murdering two Cape Coral women, Kristine Melton and Diane Ruiz. He's been in jail since 2019, awaiting trial.
All right, verdict form appears to be in order. We'll let the clerk publish the verdict.
In the Circuit Court of the 20th Judicial Circuit in Forley County, Florida, we, the jury, find by a vote of 9-3 that Wade Wilson should be sentenced to death. We, the jury, find by a vote of 10-2 that Wade Wilson should be sentenced to death. Dated this 25th day of June, 2024.
Wade Stephen Wilson was convicted earlier this month for the horrific deaths of Kristine Melton and Diane Ruiz, who were killed within days of one another. As the state claimed in the trial, he murdered the two women for the sake of killing. In October of 2019, Wilson went on a crime spree that led to their untimely deaths. Investigators believe Kristine Melton was choked to death by Wilson after they met at a bar in Fort Myers, Florida. Prosecutors say on October 7th of 2019, Wilson stole Melton's car after killing her. And Wilson's alleged crime spree would only escalate. After murdering Melton and stealing her car, he went to visit his former girlfriend, Melissa Montanez, and used Melton's phone to contact her. After Montanez and Wilson met up, he attacked her.
He arrives at Miss Montanez's business. He makes contact with Miss Montanez. It's not nice. She's trying everything she can to fend him off. She can't move.
Then fled again in Melton's car, and that's when he encountered Diane Ruiz. Ruiz was walking home from work, and the now convicted killer asked for directions, and she never made it home. When she got into the car, Wilson strangled her before running her over with Melton's car repeatedly.
It was about 10 o'clock at night when he called me from the same number he called me from earlier. And he told me he was in a house, he was safe. What he did was he took both of their phones. So he kept Kristine's phone open and called me from that phone. I said, listen, you got to tell me what's going on. And he started from the top. The truth about it is, for years, I've told my wife, I said, my biggest fear is one day he's going to kill one of these girls.
And that was a shocking statement towards the end of that interview. They did a great job with it, with his dad. But when he said that to me was just shocking. That, listen, he knew that this son had this in him because of all of the females that were texting him and saying, hey, your son is scaring me. And this happened over a period of time. And that's the screwy part, is that, like, everybody knew that he was a ticking time bomb, and that when he did his drugs, that's when he was at his worst. His own father said, and girlfriends said, when he's not high, he's the nicest guy. But you can't play both sides of the fence. You can't be nice 1 minute and then get high and then now want to kill people or want to hurt people. And, you know, that brings us to the point of today, when Phone Calls from Prison uploaded that audio with him with Joey, right? A lot of people I saw in the chat, and a lot of people leaving messages like, that explains his hatred towards women or his violence towards women. Any thoughts on that? Did that like come out or come into your head of maybe that might explain a little bit maybe of his violent behavior or tendencies towards women?
You know, it's at this point, people have become so invested. There's so many theories out there about it. It's like as soon as you get in tune and aware and caught up on one direction that this storyline's going in with Wade Wilson, the next day another one starts, and there's so many narratives and storylines being thought of, and just ideas, and I think that's very possible. As an inmate, if I'm being honest, from what I've heard, you know, I'm the guy I've sat down and listened to every single Wade Wilson call there is, as many people in the chat have. And I've heard what his most important, his main focus and desire is money on his canteen, on his kiosk. Yeah. That's what he wants. And I truly believe he doesn't care who it is or what he has to do or what position he has to play or what role he has to play. He'll do anything he has to get just a little bit of money in there. I feel that that's the level he's stooped down to. I would not be surprised if he was just engaging with this older man in a romantic and flirty way and sexual way, because all throughout this, he brings up the idea of money, care packages, kiosks, more money. You know, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if this was all just for money.
Right. And he knows this is being recorded. He's not a dummy. I mean, he knows that all of these conversations are going to be out there in the public. Right. So he is probably was planning to just say, hey, you know, I'm just playing this guy. Right. But he really sounded damn convincing when you listen to
he knows it's being recorded. I don't think he ever expected for it to really reach the internet the way it has now.
Yeah. I wonder what the Kristine has to say about him now listening to that and all of his fan club, you know, ladies, you know, are some of these girls saying, wait a minute, I donated all this money, and what does he have, like a GoFundMe and a whole bunch of...
From my understanding, you know, the whole Save Wade Wilson crew of women out there, apparently some of the higher ups and the lead women, as soon as that call got uploaded by Phone Calls from Prison, they went live in panic mode. They were beside themselves. They didn't know what to do about it.
Right.
They couldn't believe it. And yeah, you know, I whether it's the fact that he is genuinely more into men, or whether it's the fact that he's just manipulating this man for money, it doesn't matter. Either way, either reason that he's doing this, it should show these women,
right? Yeah,
you don't need to be supporting him. He's a manipulator, or he's not into you, period. So why are you wasting your money on this killer who has confessed on multiple phone calls to multiple people in explicit details that nobody but him would know?
Right.
That match up quite specifically.
Yeah.
You know, why are you still defending this man's innocent? Why are you donating hundreds, if not thousands? Someone, I believe the biggest donation yet has been $20,000, $25,000 from one person to save this man.
Yeah.
And he is on there laughing with his loved ones about what he did to these women. There's no excuse anymore. It doesn't matter if he's really into this old man or if he's just manipulating him.
Right.
Either way, y'all need to let justice be done and quit trying to save this man.
I got to say, and you know, like I'm all for. There's people who go into the prison system that are going to get out, right? But did not commit this type of heinous crime. Our victims here, Kristine Melton, 35, not a mother, but a daughter, an aunt, a sister. You know, their families are left with this horror. Right. So it's about the victims. And Diane Ruiz, 43 years old, a mother of two, just minding her business and walking to work. And he lures her to the car after he got into that raging fight where he bit his girlfriend, Melissa, right? Bit her nose, practically ripped. I listened to her testimony. She said he practically ripped my dress off of me. Yeah. And when he realized I was getting away, I fell to the ground, and the car, he left it in drive. The car that he stole from the person he murdered, the first victim, Kristine, he had her Nissan Versa. She said it almost ran me over. And that's the very same car just a short hour or two later that he ran over Diane Ruiz 10 to 20 times to make her look like spaghetti. This fucking guy is a monster.
And you know what he said in these calls about that? To his ex, Melissa, who he calls Mila,
yeah.
He admits to punching her in the face so hard that she bled. And he even jokes and laughs about the fact, he says, quote, "You took that punch like Floyd Mayweather." And he laughs about it. And then he goes on to say, the girl he ran over, he goes on to tell his dad, "I ran that girl over so many times, they couldn't even recognize her."
Disgusting.
And he laughs about it. He thinks it's funny.
Yeah, he's a piece of work, and I'm gonna play just a little bit of the district attorney. She laid her case out unbelievably, and a lot of people don't cover this, but this is about the victims, and I think it's important that we show this because next what we'll start talking about is that phone call, and we'll play it. You're gonna have to listen to. That's why I have both earplugs. I only usually use one, but when we listen to the phone call from Joey, his lover, the one he wants to marry in this conversation, you need to listen to with two earbuds because one side of the earbuds is going to be Wade talking and the other side is going to be this guy Joey. And it's kind of hard to hear it, but we'll break it down and we'll stop it. And you know what? I got to tell you, Paul, Jumpsuit Pablo, you make these horrific things that we listen to, these conversations, you make some good laughing points in it. And I think it's important because in the grand scheme of things, this stuff is triggering to a lot of people because we have a lot of domestic violence survivors. We have a lot of women and men who are survivors of this kind of stuff. But when you do it the way you do it, and it's unique, you do it to where you bring in some humor to it, not about the actual crimes, but about how he's talking. And I like that because I think,
and that's, I think it's important because there's women on TikTok who are glamorizing him. They are putting work into making these videos, just fetishizing and glamorizing and using all these angles of him and these filters and effects and this background music, trying to make him look like some sex symbol and some sexy man. To be worshipped. And I feel like I need to combat that and expose with these phone calls that are provided by phone calls from prison. I'm going to take those and I'm going to point out as a inmate who's done, mind you, twice as amount of time as him. I've seen plenty of guys just like him. He's a clown.
Right.
He's a nobody. He's not sexy. He's not mysterious. He's a loser and he's a clown. And he's a nobody in prison. He doesn't have any status. And I can tell by the way he talks. And I think it's important to point out all the reasons why he's just a joke. And we laugh at him. If you want all this fame and you want all this recognition and he's feeding into that, we'll give you some, but it's not going to be the kind you want. And so if there's people out there trying to make you look great, we're going to show everyone how bad that you actually are. And that's what's important, I think.
This is about not glamorizing the horrific crimes that this guy has committed. And he's already convicted and he's going to get sentenced on the 27th.
Right.
And I will say this, I'm going to go out on a limb right here as a retired NYPD detective. I say Judge Thompson is he's going to have no choice. And I don't care about, all these gleaming reports that, the defense brought in people to say that he, is suffering from this and that and the bullshit. He's suffering from a habitual liar. He makes up stories. He's a pathological liar. He's a narcissistic control freak. He is a bully. He goes after, and by his father's own admissions, he's scared of men. He does not fight with men per se. He wants an easy fight that he can control and have command and control of. And we saw that. We saw that with his past, with all of the women that were texting his dad and saying, I don't know, I don't know how to control him. He's beating me. He's doing this. So he's got a long track record of this. And now it comes to a head on October 7th, where Mount St. Helens erupted and Wade went on a killing spree. And if he would have had his way with his girlfriend, Mia, she would have been dead. If there was not, he said there was too many people around. That was his words, right? There's too many people around, and that's why she's still alive. Otherwise, she'd be dead.
He said she made a scene. There were people looking. Yeah, all that.
Yeah. All right, let's listen to this. This is the prosecutor. She did a great job, and she spells out the crime. So let's listen.
And was unnecessarily torturous to Kristine Melton or Diane Ruiz. Strangulation alone is heinous, atrocious, and cruel. Why? Because the victim is aware she is going to die. The victim knows what is about to happen as that perpetrator's hands are wrapped around her neck. And the force that must be used to kill with his hands was significant. Kristine Melton was woken out of her sleep. The person she had just partied with, the person she was intimate with, the person that had built her trust, the person she had led into her home, into her bed, had his hands around her neck. But before he killed her, he inflicted torture. He inflicted pain, and he showed utter indifference to her life. We know she suffered before she died because there is evidence she tried to fight him. Her fingernails were broken. Her brain was swollen. And the swelling occurred from blunt force trauma that the defendant inflicted on her before she died. She was covered in bruises. She was bruised on the outside of her body. She was bruised on the inside of her body.
This is what I don't understand, Jumpsuit, and I'll leave us off. And again, if you need a bathroom break, it's just another 2 minutes here, because I know I'll put us back on because it's funny. This is when you hear this prosecutor talk about this viciousness, the way he battered her, he beat her, and then choked her out, took the life out of her, right? But he beat her. When you hear this, and as a woman, how could these women on TikTok and these women that are sending him love letters, and the warden said at the jail, at the county jail, we had to stop some of them due to the sexual nature and the pictures that they were sending. How could these freaking women and these fans of him, men and women, probably, now we know we got Joey involved. How could these people think that this guy's some kind of dream when he's,
I'm gonna tell you, it's kind of split into sections. There's a portion of people who they don't care if he did it. They don't care if he didn't do it. They probably assume he did do it, and they don't care. They think he's sexy. That he fulfills some type of fantasy for them, and they are so disconnected from his crimes and the victims and how that affected real people.
Right?
They don't care, and they may pretend they care, and they may try to get on here and say, "Oh, he's innocent for this reason and that." They're really just kind of covering for the fact that they know they're wrong for romanticizing this guy. And then there's people out there who actually think he's innocent. It's not his fault. He was an orphan at one time. He did this. He grew up rough. He did that. I don't care. There's plenty of orphans who don't run people over. There's plenty of orphans who don't choke women. There's plenty,
but the Wilson family who adopted him treated him great.
Right.
He's provided with all of the luxuries. They weren't millionaires, but they were doing well.
Right.
And he had an upbringing from a baby. Don't forget, his father and mother, 14 and 15 years old. That in itself is a whole nother conversation, because where I come from, if you get someone pregnant at the age of 14, and now you'd have to look at probably teetering on 13, that's a crime.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not going to go there, but I needed to say that. Like, so the father and mother, biological, we saw him on the interview. We never hear the mom talk to biological mother, because as the father stated in that interview, she's had a real troubled situation with drugs and with other things that he didn't elaborate on. So we know that both of his biologicals, no good, and had him at age 14 and 15. They gave him up to this great family. But it doesn't matter if you have a great family bringing you up. If you're evil, you're evil. And you can lead them. You could lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And I hate to use that analogy. He had the groundwork to be a good person. It's just he chose from high school. I listened to his high school friends who got interviewed, and it was a male and a female, and they were all scared shitless. They didn't want to be named, but they were like, he hung out with all the bad people. And we knew that there was something wrong with him. He was just not good.
Right.
I forgot the exact words, but they were pretty straightforward about it.
And you hear him in these phone calls with Mila, his ex-girlfriend, and she grills him over and over again. She's like, why? You know, I know you did it. You confessed to it. You gave me details, but why? Why did you do this? And you know, did you do it for this, or did you just want? And he says, I don't know. I just wanted to kill. He just wanted to kill. There's something wrong with the guy, you know, and it's not coming from any other outside source. There's something wrong with that guy.
Yeah. Here's our good friend, Joey Brooklyn. And the one that Wade was talking to is not this Joey here. Okay. I can tell you, he's married. He is my head moderator. He is the king of all security. Joey Brooklyn despises that this phone call today that was released has his name attached to it, but it's not Joey. Let me just put that out.
Joey Brooklyn, not Joey Florida. Don't worry, guys.
It's not Joey. Joey Brooklyn is all man, and he loves his wife. But yeah, here we go. I want to just play the rest of this because this is in the Honorable Nick Thompson's courtroom, and this is important because she goes on to talk a little bit more about how heinous and how brutal this guy is. And if you want to, yeah, there you go.
She had bruising of numerous internal organs. Her fingernails were broken. Her brain was swollen.
She's talking about his first victim, Kristine Melton. Her fingernails were broken. This is brutal, but this is about the victims and their families.
And the swelling occurred from blunt force trauma that the defendant inflicted on her before she died. She was covered in bruises. She was bruised on the outside of her body. She was bruised on the inside of her body. She had bruising of numerous internal organs. She had hemorrhaging and bleeding on the outside of her body and hemorrhaging and bleeding on the inside of her body. She had injuries to her head and to her brain. The defendant seemed to enjoy the fact that she suffered, and he told his dad such things. Diane Ruiz, he pulled her into his car and beat her. He broke her nose. He grabbed her by the neck, choking her, strangling her. He pressed so hard that he broke her highway bone and broke her thyroid cartilage.
And Pablo, I keep referring to you as jumpsuit Pablo, Paul. Yeah. It's all of this, all in one. It's easier if I just call you Paul. Is that all right?
Anything you want.
All right, brother. Well, I'll call you whatever you want me to call you. But I definitely won't call you Joey. That's for sure.
Please don't.
Paul. So, Paul, isn't it true that Wade bragged to his father and to, I think, the lead investigator that Miss Ruiz, Diane Ruiz, 43 years young, mother of two, he said, I'll give her one thing. She was a fighter. Didn't he say that?
Yeah, he did.
Fucking scumbag. Sorry, folks.
And like Kristine, we know too that she fought back. Diane had defensive wounds. She had bruising on her left forearm and the back of her hand. And the defendant said when talking to law enforcement, she was a fighter. I'll give her that. And he choked and strangled her, applying far greater than 10 to 15 pounds of pressure. She came back to life 3 or 4 times.
God.
And as he drove through Cape Coral trying to find a place to deposit her body, she was still alive. And when he pushed her out of that car and she got back up, what did he do? He ran over her. He said he ran over and over her, making her look like spaghetti. She had a laugh.
Look at him sitting there. This is what was the most shocking about it. He sat there with his legs open in court and was smirking as this prosecutor is talking about his brutal murders. That's what makes him so evil, that he sat there and just put that face on. And you know what? If this judge comes back with anything less than the death penalty, I think it would be a travesty of justice. And my aunt is a Catholic nun. My whole family is against the death penalty. But me, myself, my brother, we're both retired New York City police detectives. He's a retired lieutenant. We both don't buy into that, because somebody like this, and I'm going to put him on the screen, somebody like this, Paul, if there's a death penalty to be had, this is the guy to fire old Sparky up for, because he does not deserve to breathe the same air that we all breathe. And
if I can be honest, a lot of people would think, well, it's just as bad of an existence if he just got life in prison. It's really not. Is it as great as being free? Absolutely not. No brainer. But it's 2024, and you'd be surprised the things inmates can do in there. He can get access to a phone, the internet. There's drugs in there. He can get high every day. If he's got all these fangirls sending him hundreds of dollars a week, he can get high. He can have a good old time. He can a much better time than he should have. If he gets the death penalty, he's going to be isolated. He won't have access to all these things. It becomes exponentially harder to get access to the little luxuries like I just described on death row, because of the extreme isolation that you are in.
Yeah.
And you'll live there. That's your existence for years and years. It's torture. It's isolation. It drives you almost mad, and then you die. And I think that's what this guy deserves.
His own father said, when asked about the death penalty, he was asked on that interview what he thought about the death penalty. He said he had mixed feelings about it, but he said at the end of it that he feels that his son would not want to live in that isolation like that, and that he would want to be put to death.
Oh, I bet.
I want to expand on what you said. Wade Wilson caught 2 or 3, I think 2 additional charges since he was locked up in 2019. In 2020, an attempt to escape the Lee County Jail with his cellmate, Joseph Katz, 33. They tampered with the windows in an attempt to escape. But then, I believe, April 20th on 4/20, shocking, I think 4/20/23, drug smuggling scheme was thwarted by the investigators inside the jail. He tried to get drugs, or did get drugs smuggled in, meth pills, cigarettes, lighters, and various other narcotics, which is considered jail contraband, obviously. Wilson used another inmate's PIN to call out of the jail and order this stuff. And he was 2 times.
Yep.
So there's no way he's going to be a model inmate. And his father said it too. There's no rehabilitation for somebody like this.
Well, there's no reason for him to be. If he doesn't get death, he's still never going home, and right. He knows that. And he said in this calls, he's told his girls, he's told his dad, he's told, either I'm going to be put to death, or I'm going to spend the rest of my life in here. And we have beyond the calls, we have the messages. It's 2024 again. Some people aren't aware. I'll let you know. This was even a thing when I was in prison. It's only been 2.5 years since I've been in prison. Right. They're implementing tablets. These are monitored, state-approved tablets. You can't just get on there and get on YouTube and Facebook. It's not like an iPad, but these are like prison tablets. It's very highly monitored, but you do have some things you can do on there. You can message approved loved ones, family members, friends, and in many of these cases, girls, or, in Wade's case, fangirls who are going to reach out to him, and they're sending him all this money. And we have the exact messages where he's coaching a woman how to stuff contraband, which is really just drugs, in private areas, and smuggle that into him during a visit.
Hell no.
He's coaching them to do that, and they're like, okay, I'll do it. They're falling for this guy.
Yeah.
And they don't realize, along with the tablets and all that modern technology, you know what else comes along with that? Technology that works against inmates. They got x-ray machines in almost every prison in the country for visits. They're going to see if you got something inside you. Got x-ray machines. They got drug sniffing dogs. They have all type of stuff.
Yeah.
Metal detectors. And these are felonies to bring this stuff into him. And he's getting these women to bring this stuff in for him. So
he doesn't care about anybody but himself, and it's all about me. And again, it is the whole topic of his conversations is, can you put money on my kiosk? Can you put money on my books for me? Did you send me this? Can you send me that? And he does it with everybody. Olive Green, thank you for the comment. She says, #jumpsuit Pablo and DutyRon. Thank you for taking the time to put out those hashtags. Do you think he has joined the prison gang? I'll let Pablo.
He's not going to be allowed to join a prison gang. I've spoken extensively with an inmate who is currently in the Florida prison, and I've spoken with 2 inmates. One of those inmates, who's actually a larger YouTuber than me, who did his time in Florida. So I've checked around in the necessary places. All reports come back very consistent that nobody's going to take him. Number one, for what the nature of his crimes are, they don't agree with that. And number 2, he some of these certain tattoos, as I'm sure you can probably guess which ones I'm referring to, he got those. He shouldn't have got those. And even if even if those are correlating with a certain organization, you got to get permission. You got to be actually initiated into that before you get them. And this guy never was. And that's one of the reasons these guys, not only is he not going to be able to join a gang, there's some gangs that want him. They want him.
Absolutely. And because of his past, as what I just laid out here about his prior escape attempt and the drug smuggling and all of that stuff, it was an elaborate scheme that they had going on, and it involved people on the outside. Like 5 or 6 people got arrested. They were at gas stations for hours. They brought the stuff and put it at a specific location. It was very elaborate what they did. So for that reason alone, he's not going to be able to join any gangs because he's going to be by himself. He's now by himself. He is not. He does not have a bunkmate. After they found him with this Joseph Katz trying to take off the molding around the windows to do a breakout, that was it. He was done at that point. So, but I appreciate that. Anonymous, thank you for gifting a membership. Anonymous is here, folks. There you go. You guys better watch it. I see a couple of good friends in the chat, and I want to say thank you to the moderators too. We're not done yet. I'm gonna, if Paul, if you can agree on this with me, and I didn't even ask you this before because I forgot, but I want to just take an opportunity to invite up 1 or 2 of our live audience guests to ask us questions live. Oh, yeah. I don't do that often, but I think that I think it's fair to the people who, hundreds of thousands, millions of views on your videos and on videos about this case, to get maybe 1 or 2 people to come on up here, and you'd have to engage your camera naturally. Yeah. You have to know who you are and see who you are, but come on up and ask us questions as it pertains to this monster. And
I'd love that. I think that's a great idea. I'd love that.
Because it's a way for us to connect with the community, and I really love to do that. And again, it's hard to do it in these controlled live streams, but I think we're running good with time. And if you guys in the chat would like that, put a number 1 in the chat to let us know if you'd be interested in that.
One's in the chat, guys.
If you don't want the 1, put a number 2, and we'll ixnay on the open nay. I want to. That's kind of corny. I want to just bring up 2 because in February of 2019,
I see a lot of 1s, Ron.
Holy shiitake mushroom. So hold on, I hear a siren. Okay. Holy shit! Pull it over. Wade's former girlfriend, and I'm not sure if this is Melissa, but it said a former girlfriend, so I'm assuming this is in February of 2019. This is many months before he did what he did, right? Because it was October of 2019, the crimes. His former girlfriend said that he tried to choke her to death on February, I don't know the date, in February 2019. This means that he had this fantasy, he had these ideas, and it was kind of what he would do to the girls. He would try to choke them out or, smack them around. And he was doing this documented in February of 2019. It's amazing to me that that police officer pulled up next to that Nissan Versa, that very Versa that he used to run over Miss Ruiz 10 to 20 times and let him go. That freaked me out. When I saw that, I just saw it today. I only looked into this case today. This is my only time looking into this case. When I saw the enormity and the totality of what went down that night and into the next day, Monday, I just couldn't get over that he was able to do what he did and then go on the run with that car and go to the girlfriend, beat the shit out of her, and then kill another person. So it just blew my mind that was going on. All right, we got a whole bunch of number ones in the chat. You know what that means, right?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll put a link in the chat. And again, you have to engage your camera, and we can only take one or two. And again, just keep it pertaining to this. We could talk about the kiosk machine. We could talk about all his fangirls. And as we do that, I want to put your channel on the screen here. This is Jumpsuit. Look, he hit 300,000 just a couple of days ago. And look at him. Look at him running. 312K. You are a badass. And you rightfully so, because you're doing a lot of content. And I work during the day. So it's like hard for me to do these things. I do one or two a week, maybe live streams. And I don't really do much of uploading. But you're killing it, and you're delivering great content to your audience. So keep on doing what you're doing. There it is. I'm subscribed. There's more that I can do. Oh shit! See?
You don't got notifications on.
Yeah, I had it personalized. But that's a setting that they do by default. So people have to realize if you hit just subscribe, it's going to put you here.
Yeah,
you have to go to each person you subscribe to and check all. So that was good that I did that.
That is a good point, because I do see a lot of comments from people like, it's not notifying me, and I don't know what to tell them. So I learned something new just now.
Let's make it full screen, because it was on personalized, right? And that's what happens when you just hit subscribe. You got to go to all if you want to get all the notifications. So a little bit of education. All right, let's do it. Let's get some people in here. Let's see. Again, you have to engage your camera. You need to have headphones or some type of listening device. Otherwise, it's going to echo and it's going to be a hot mess. So make sure you have something plugged in. It could be AirPods. It could be just a plug-in thing. Let's put it in the chat. Let's do it. Paste. All right. I'm going to pin it so I don't have to keep putting it in. It's going to be pinned at the top. Let's see if we do that.
I do want to address, while you're doing that, I see a few comments. They want to know if this old man, the newest call today, Joey, they want to know, is this the same Joey or Joseph who is in a news article with Wade Wilson from years ago, when Wade Wilson, he used to be his cellmate when they tried to do this escape? I will say I looked into that. It's not the same guy. Wade Wilson was 26 years old at that time. His cellmate was 30 years old. If you heard that call today, that means at most, that's not a 30-year-old voice. I think we can all agree on that. So absolutely not. That's not the same person. Okay. But we are still looking and trying to see if we can find out who that is for everybody.
I want to do this for the advantage of phone calls from prison. And Kristen, my producer behind the scene, she immediately jumps in. I almost want to disqualify her, because she can come in anytime and talk to you, but I won't do that to her because she'll really get mad at me. So, but I see Kristen's here. Configure Camo Studios is in, but you got to engage your camera. And I see Christina. So Christina, because you have your camera engaged, you're going to come on first. Let's just, for the, to do the right thing, and we love phone calls from prison. So let's just play a little bit of this. And you did a reaction video to this. It's funny as hell. So I really encourage people. I'm going to link it here in the description. Go and watch it's like 39 minutes or whatever. You
Yeah.
did that on a premiere, I believe, on Upload. And
Yeah.
it was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I laughed
Oh,
my
we
ass
broke an all-time record on the channel for I think we had 6,000 viewers at one time on watching that.
6,000 live viewers on a premiere. That's was that a live stream or a premiere? Upload?
That was a premiere, but that is by far the most we've ever had at one time, and it's still number 1 out of 10 for all the videos I've done. So it's
Kudos, brother. I mean, I think a long time ago I was covering Chris Watts. We had 15,000 in a live chat.
wow.
I was just overwhelmed because you can't. There's no way you're going to see everybody. You know, there's no way
Right.
you can be able to say hello to everybody.
I can't imagine.
Let's play a little of this throw up clip from Joey and Loverboy Wade. What did you call him? Wade Kiosk Wilson.
Wade Long John Wilson, Wade Kiosk Wilson. Oh, we got a lot by now. We got lots.
Long John commercial was fucking great. That was great. I love it. All right, so I got to put the second earbud in to hear both sides of it. So it's otherwise you're just hearing one side. So let's let this play. And again, as a reminder, it's kind of low audio wise, but there's nothing that they could do about it, and there's nothing we could do about it.
It was me.
Oh, okay. Let me cover my other ear.
sorry.
They got the damn TV in here turned up like loud.
Yeah, I'm sorry, babe.
What happened?
I'm just I've been sick, and then
Did he say I'm sorry, boo?
He let me tell you, he'll drop a boo, a baby, a bud. He there's no end to what he calls this guy. It's
yeah, funny as hell. All right, let's let this rip.
it comes and goes, but I'm in bed right now. So.
Oh, you're in bed right now? Do you want me to call you back at a different time?
No, yeah, I want to talk to you, but yes, I want you to call me back.
Is it me, or does it sound like this guy's teeth are out?
I'm telling you, he didn't put his polygrip on those dentures today.
I love you, son. I love you. I love you.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. I was actually about to get in the shower, so I can I can call you back.
Can you come do that here?
Yeah. What time is a good time for you?
So you shower at my house right now.
Can you come shower at my house right now? What? Hold on a second.
Oh, hell no.
Hold on.
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
Huh?
So can you shower at my house?
I think I need to. I think we both need to.
Yeah, you fucking, your whole body would be fucking pain. Can I please get out the shower? How you doing, baby? Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing good. It's been okay. Sometimes I go in and out. You know, like when I think about you, though, it makes everything a lot better. But
thank you. But
holy shit, I'm telling you, man.
All he got to do is think about Joey, and it makes everything okay. That's what Wade Wilson says.
When I think about you, baby, baby.
When I think about that shower.
Let me put my teeth in. Hold
on. Babe.
Yeah.
Like you're allowed to tell me when you're having a shitty fucking day, brother. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes I do. Sometimes like today was okay. Like honestly, you know, like when I exercise and I work out, like of course I feel better. You know, I get everything flowing a little bit. And actually, I just got done working out like 10 minutes ago, and then I was thinking of you, and I was like, okay, I have to call him. Like I want to call him so bad and hear his voice. So you know, I did. Yeah. No, thank you. You're welcome. Yeah. No problem.
We're getting married, man.
We're getting married, baby.
Oh.
We're getting married, baby. We're getting married, baby. Holy shit. I'm telling you, when I heard this today, you were the first person I reached out to. I was like,
yeah,
dude, did you fucking hear this? And you were like, I got multiple things going on.
Well, I was like, listen, I'm literally listening and reacting right now. You, JD DeLay, I can't even count how many people reached out to me and were like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
Have you heard this new video?
Let's get Christina on because she's got her bird. It looks like she's got a conure on there. Or I can't really see the bird. Okay. Hey, Christina.
Oh, wow.
Hello.
Let's see that bird. We're going to go full screen. You're going to take over the show right now.
What's the bird's name?
Her name is Waffles.
Oh, Waffles.
I was hoping she wasn't going to say cockatoo.
I hope she wasn't going to say Joey.
Joey, hey, you got a cockatoo over here, Joey? Christina, thank you for jumping on with me and Pablo. Any questions that you pressing or anything like that, or?
Do you think that it'll take, like, if he does get like a death sentence, will he end up like, Ted Bundy, how he was on there for like 10 years. Like, is it going to be like that same kind of process? Will he still have the appeals and all that? And, that long drawn out thing?
Go ahead, Paul.
That's annoying.
I think even Ron knows it. He'll definitely be able to appeal. And right now, I think a lot of people are like, why are all these people trying to raise all this money on a GoFundMe? Which, by the way, if you aren't outraged enough already, these women have raised $60,000 on a GoFundMe for him for legal assistance. And it's like, well, the sentencing is coming up in just, a week or so. Like, what are you waiting on? It's not even to save him from that. I think it's more so for the appeal. He'll definitely get the right to an appeal. I don't think he'll win or anything, but let's just put that to the side and assume, he gets the death penalty. That's definitely not happening next week or anything. That's definitely not happen a few days after. It's very common for it to be 8, 10, 12, 15 years before that even happens. And, I always say when I make videos about things like that, especially when the death penalty comes into play, I'm like, maybe don't let that upset you too much because, man, sometimes death is just too easy. When you're on death row, the isolation, just the mental torture, the emotional torture, the spiritual torture, just that amount of isolation, it will break you to pieces. Let him get broke to pieces, and then 30, he can go.
And he's 30 years old. Think about it. This isn't a man in his 50s. This is not Joey, right? We know he's 52 or 53. I couldn't really make out what he was saying, but this is a young man. And you know what? A young monster, I'll call him. I can't even call him a young man. So he's going to be in that isolation, and he's going to get his food, as we talked about. He's probably, and I hate to say this shit, but it's true. He's not inmate enemy number one. Honestly, he's just going to fit in with the like-minded death row guys. He's going to go up to, what is it, Union County or whatever they have one place. I have it written down, but I don't know off the top of my head. It's in the middle of Florida State Correctional Facility where they have old Sparky there. That thing is ready to go, and he'll have the choice to either get electric chair or lethal injection. They give him choices now. But the end of the day, this stuff takes decades. And unfortunately, he'll be looking at 40 or 50 years old by the time this happens. And I don't know if I'll be around because I'm an old man. But,
cool that I think it's in like Japan or something like that, where like if somebody's on death row, they don't tell you like, oh, your date is the 13th or nothing like that. Like they'll just come to you one day and be like,
well, the judge has to sign a death warrant, Christina. So there is another process. Once all of his appeals are exhausted, the judge will sign a death warrant. His attorney will notify him that the death warrant is signed, and then there's X amount of days for it to be executed. And in the state of Florida, they have volunteers who, when it comes to the electric chair, there's a volunteer that gets paid $150. It's not an inmate, not a correctional staff. It's a civilian that volunteers and gets paid a $150 fee to throw the switch. So prison officials,
there's going to be a line.
prison
I feel like maybe they should offer that to any of the victims' family members who might want to do that.
Absolutely. But they don't do it that way. I did a little research on it, and it's one individual that volunteers, and they come in and they just flip the switch. If it's an injectable, if it's death by lethal injection, then there's going to be medical staff that's going to give him his concoction. So that's how it goes. Christina, any other questions? Because I got my main girl sitting and waiting, Kristen. She's got her hand on her head like this, and she's like,
she's probably like, shut her up and kill me.
Yeah, she's like, I had to take a back seat to one of the. I do all the work here, for crying out loud. She does all my uploads and does all my stuff for me. So,
no, I just want to say I love the show, and Paul, I actually started watching all these calls and the reactions because of your show. So I haven't really known about the case until I started watching it, and I was like, every time I turn around and I feel like I understand this situation, I'm like, what the hell is going on now? I'm like, not Joey? Who's Joey? Like, what's this about? But
I'm right there with you. every day it's a new, and I never hear these before I play them and react to them. So my reactions are really just me hearing them in that moment. So I'm sometimes thrown just as much for a loop as everyone else is, but I feel like that kind of adds to the craziness of it,
Yeah.
When you kept
But I'm so glad that you enjoy it. What?
When you kept calling Joey his grandfather, I was like, oh God, you're gonna regret that so bad.
I thought it was awesome. I was cracking up, and I was at work. I was actually in a conference room. And I was listening with one of my Apple earbuds, and I was listening with one ear, and people were like, "What are you laughing about?" And I'm like, "You don't even want to know. You don't even want to know."
I thought, listen, you couldn't have told me they weren't going to get on there and talk about Granddad's baseball card collection, his new mower. They started talking about baby and getting married. I was like, "What? No, hang on a second. I don't think this is his granddad anymore. I don't know what's going on here."
But I calls everybody baby.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a little bit of your hold on, let me see if I can get that on. Here we go. Here's a little bit of Jumpsuit. I don't even get caught. I'm in the 30-minute mark, and it looks like by his face right here, he's about to say something funny. So let's listen to this.
His nice teeth that he has no teeth.
Look at his face.
That. Yeah. I didn't know that. I saw his mugshot. He was suffering. I thought he was so cute. He's got beautiful fucking eyes. He's got nice hair. And that was it.
Talking about another man there.
But it was like, but today, like
that's all I heard. I don't know.
Confident motherfucker, and I like that. For some reason, through all this, I find you more human than I have found you yet. Like, and just not human out of your features or anything, but you're real. But it's like he called me Joey. I'm like, hey, he's like, look, I know one Will in the city. I know one person in the city named Will. I knew it wasn't him. He's literally my arch enemy. I have one arch enemy in the city, and that's him.
Bro got an arch enemy.
So a little bit of Jumpsuits. I wanted to play a little bit of that. Give a little kudos to the channel. All right, Christina, we love you. We appreciate your support. Thank you for subscribing here and subscribing to Jumpsuit. And again, if those of you who are in the chat, if you're not yet subscribed to Jumpsuit Pablo, go over and subscribe. If you're not subscribed here to DutyRon, please do so. All right, Kristine, thank you for joining. Here is Kristen, our main girl. Thank you for joining. Hi, Chris. What is the kiosk? You're here. Hello.
All right. Hey. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
That's my question. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Of
course.
Yeah? I can't hear anything anymore.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Well, her question is, what is the kiosk?
So if you can hear me, I can't hear you, which is fine. But what the hell is the kiosk?
Okay. The kiosk is, it's a machine. Usually it's kind of mounted to the wall. It's kind of like a virtual screen and a keypad. It's bolted into the wall. Any inmate, once you're allowed out or access to it, you can go up to it and you kind of type in, they'll give you like an inmate. Every inmate in every state prison or jail has an inmate number specific to them. You'll type in your inmate number and that's kind of your login. So once you get on there, you can do a number of things. You go to categories. You can go to the medical category and let the nurse know, hey, I'm sick. My tummy's upset. I got a stuffy nose. I need to get some medicine. Call me down there tomorrow. Or you can write, visitation and be like, hey, I need to add a person to my visitation, or, a number of things. But the main reason people like to use it is either to order canteen, which is all your little snacks you'll hear Wade talking about, or you can send electronic messages to your loved ones, and it costs about, in my state it costs about 25 cents. Other places maybe more or less, but you can send kind of emails or typed out messages, which are still monitored just as the prison and jail phone calls are, to your loved ones. So that's what a kiosk is.
And he talked about that with Joey. He said, I'm going to add you so this way you can he was even telling him we could video chat. Is that Yeah, that's the truth. Okay. Tina sent in a super chat and she says, Paul, is he a target because he has money and that they can say give it up or get beat? Also, if drugs are so hard to get in, how can they do that to him? How can he do them a lot? How can he do the drugs a lot?
Right.
Sorry about that. Tina,
well, I'll address that second part of the question first because it's very simple. They're not that hard to get in. They're very easy to get in, and they're plentiful. And they're actually, it's very much less plentiful in jail, county jail, which some people don't know still. There's a difference between county jail and you're awaiting court, you're awaiting your sentencing. And then once you get that, you go to state or federal prison. Prison is a lot different from jail. So it's actually much less plentiful in jail, but once you get to prison, it is very, very plentiful. It is, I would argue from my experience, it's easier to get drugs in prison than it is in the outside world, because you can walk 5 feet over to this guy's cell and he's got it, you know, and it's very easy. So he can get them as long as he has the money to pay for them, which it sounds like he's going to have, because I've seen that he has, since he's been locked up, he's received over 3,900 electronic messages from women. Now, as far as, is he a target because he has money? I mean, any money he has, it's coming from women. Can they say give it up or get beat? Yes, absolutely they can. I mean, they can definitely do that.
He's going to be isolated now, right?
Right. He's going to be isolated. Yeah. You know, if he gets around other inmates, which, and even according to the interview done with his dad, who last he heard from him, he is doing everything he can. He is protesting any possible scenario where he gets around other inmates. He doesn't want to, because he knows what's going to happen. So, you know, that probably won't happen. But if he had to be around other inmates, absolutely. Whether he's getting $20 or $2,200, they could definitely make him give up some of that money just for protection.
Absolutely. Tina, thank you so much for the support. I'm going to show this because I think it's important. So let me put this on the screen. I'm going to go full screen. Kristen, thank you for being here. I appreciate you.
You didn't even need to bring me on. My bad. I just wanted you to ask, because that's not what I had ever heard it. And, you know, like, electronics have definitely taken over prisons and jails since Chris was involved, or, you know, I knew anything about it. So that's it, Paul. I'll see you later.
All right.
Good to talk to you.
We love you, Kristen. Thank you.
See you.
Bye. There she goes. I want to put on the prison, the means of execution, because this next super chat that I'm going to highlight comes from someone from outside the country, and I believe they're in New Zealand. And she says, a volunteer? That's so sick. Death penalty has no place in civilized Western country in 2024. Hey, listen, I respect your opinion, I value it, but again, if there's someone that needs to be put down, this is a guy. Okay, this is a guy that needs to be put down, because if, God forbid, he did something like that to one of your family members or one of my family members or any of our family members, I think we would be singing a different tune. So let me go full screen with this. And thank you for the super chat, and thank you for expressing your thoughts and opinions here. Let me know in the chat if you could see this. If not, I'll make it bigger. Let me just do it. Let me make it bigger if I can. Ah, shit, I can't. All right, so means of execution. I'll highlight it so you guys can see it. Maybe this is like small on the screen. It says in January of 2000, the Florida legislature passed legislation that allows lethal injection as an alternative method of execution in Florida. Florida administers executions by lethal injection or electric chair at the execution chamber located at Florida State Prison. The 3-legged electric chair was constructed from oak by the Department of Corrections personnel in 1998 and was installed in the Florida State Prison in Railford in 1999. The previous chair was made by inmates from oak in 1923 after the Florida legislature designated electrocution as the official mode of execution. Prior to that, executions were carried out by counties, usually by hanging. How about that? So in the 20s, or before 1923, if you were sentenced to death in Florida, you were hung in the prison. Here's the protocol. First executed inmate. They go on to give you some stats. 1924 is the first execution, and 1929. The executioner, here it is a private citizen fuck, is a private citizen who is paid $1.50 per execution. State law allows for his or her identity to remain anonymous. As far as witnesses go, special note regarding press and witnesses for execution. The department relies on the Florida Press Association and the Florida Association of Broadcasters to select 10 of the 12 pooled reporters who may witness the execution. Florida Press Association, you give the phone number, please don't call it, don't dox them, don't go on there and harass these people. And then there's the daily routine of death row inmates, death row and death watch cells. Death row cell is 6 by 9 by 9.5 feet in height. Florida State Prison also has death watch cells to incarcerate inmates awaiting execution after the governor signs the death warrant. So it's not the judge, it's the governor. I screwed up on that, my bad. So the governor signs the death warrant, and a death watch cell is now 12 by 7 by 8.5 feet in height. Men on death row are housed at Union. I was right about that. Union Correctional Institution in Ralford, Florida. The women on death row are housed at Lowell Annex in Lowell, Florida. Meals, death row inmates are served meals 3 times a day, 5 a.m., 10:30, and 11 a.m. And from 4 p.m. to 4:30, food is prepared by the prison staff, as Paul had told us. We talked about Stephen Stearns. Prison staff and transported in insulated carts to the cells. Inmates are given sporks, not forks. Sporks. What's a spork, Paul?
It's a spoon with some small little prongs on the end. So it's like a spoon and a fork merged together.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, so it's a multi-pronged. So they provided the eating tray. Prior to execution, an inmate may request the last meal. To avoid extravagance, the food prepared for the last meal must cost no more than $40.
Oh man, that's like DoorDash. That's McDonald's DoorDash right there.
You're getting a couple of chicken tenders and a goddamn curly fries and a diet something, or maybe a oh my God. Visitors. All inmate visitors must be approved before visiting is allowed. This is pertaining to death row inmates. Questions regarding inmates visiting day, which is day or days, and hours, special should be classification officer, yada, yada, yada. I took it off because I don't want people calling the facility, the numbers on there. Showers. Inmates on death row may shower every other day, but I think that's how it is for regular inmates as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every other day. Death row inmates are counted every hour. They do a count, as we know about the count. You know, you spent a decade in there. You know about the count.
It's usually not every hour, but I assume death row would probably be every hour.
So every hour, they're escorted in handcuffs and wear them everywhere except inside their cells, the exercise yard, and the shower. They're in their cells at all times except for medical reasons, exercise, social, legal visits, or media interviews. When a death warrant is signed by the governor, the inmate is put under a death watch status and is allowed legal and social phone calls. Mail, magazines, and entertainment. Inmates may receive mail every day, except holidays and weekends. They may have snacks and radios and 13-inch televisions in their cells. This is for death row inmates. Right. They do not have cable television, or air conditioning. In Florida?
We don't either.
You don't get fucking air conditioning in Florida? Holy shit.
Regular inmates don't get cable or AC either. I don't know.
Wow. Okay.
I think they just put that to make it sound good.
Yeah. And this is under I'll link this. This is Florida Institution Death Row procedures. Mm-hmm. Inmates, they do not have cable or air conditioning, and they are not allowed to be with each other in a common room. They can watch church services on closed circuit TV, while on death watch, inmates may have radios and televisions positioned only outside of their cell bars. Clothing, just goes on to tell about clothing. Statistics, here it is. The stats on executed inmates in Florida is 44.9 years of age at the time of execution. So that would be right in point with, he's 30, another 20 years, give or take, 44.9. 27 years is the average wait for execution. 27.4 years, 27 years, 4 months. And then look, this is interesting. They give you stats on how many people were put down in the state of Florida. Total of 105.
Wow.
Since 79. So this goes from 79 to 2002, not obviously current. So I'm sure that number is just a tad bit higher. And it lists all the guys. And this is the quick links. This is Florida Department of Corrections. You guys can go on there and check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We spent a good hour here chatting it up with people. Again, I want to thank you for collaborating with me. I consider you a friend. I have considered you a friend before tonight. I think that the information that you and I both have to provide to the listening audience is invaluable. So, the inmate's perspective, someone who's been inside and knows the procedures, knows the ins and outs, and you give it from a South Carolina Department of Corrections perspective. But as we know, the jails don't operate so much different state to state. There's little changes, right?
And it's it's kind of gotten to a point where I've been doing this about 2.5 years since I got out, and as I've grown, I mean, there's a lot of inmates. This is just the day and age we live in. There are a lot of inmates who have access to contraband cell phones, and they see my stuff, and they trust me. They hear my words. They hear the authenticity, and they feel comfortable reaching out to me. And I have contacts in many, many state prisons across. So I am able to get a general consensus of what's similar across most state prisons and what changes. But one thing I do want to tease, Ron, like you said, we're friends. I'm always here to collab if you want. And here's something I'll throw out there to the viewers as we're bringing this to an end. I did have a Florida prison inmate reach out to me and gave me a full video interview about Charlie Adelson, is it? Adelson, Charlie Adelson. Kind of what was going on with him when he was there, who wanted him, why they wanted him, what gang wanted him dead, and what happened with that, and just a lot of great insight and information. And hey, I'd love to collab on that if everyone's interested in that, and maybe that's something we could do in the future again, because I always love coming on the DutyRon show.
Absolutely. And when my partner gets back from Africa, he's training some of the military and local police in Africa on forensics. When Ed Wallace comes back, I want to have us together, and we could do a lot of things when it comes to interview and interrogation of any particular cases that we're covering. And I want to put on phone calls from Prison's channel again here. I am subscribed. Let me see if the YouTube did the same whammy to me. Oh, personalized. See?
Yep.
You got to go and mark that all. So again,
guys, I know a lot of y'all are here for Wade Wilson calls, and you can hear them on my channel and their channel. But listen, you wouldn't believe some of the phone calls of the people and inmates and infamous true crime cases they have on their channel that may not have even been discovered yet, but you're into it. So just take a look through their playlists and videos. These people are magicians when it comes to getting their hands on these phone calls.
I don't know how they do it, but I love it that they do it. And I love that they are here for the community. And, a lot of people use their stuff and don't credit them.
Yep.
And I think that's a shame, because it's the only right thing to do. And they told me, remember when I first, I think it was for Shonda Vanderark and Timothy Ferguson case where she killed her son, Timothy. I reached out to you and I said, hey, would you reach out to them for me? Because I won't play their stuff without their approval. And you did, and I've become friends with them and communicating with them.
And Ron, they're big fans of your channel. They love you, they respect you, and I know the feeling's mutual there. And they're just great people. They don't mind one bit if any channel at all wants to use any of their calls. All they ask, hey, give us a little shout out, link us in the description, the bare minimum. And some channels don't do that, but it's the respectable, fair thing to do. And you've always done that, and I've always done that. And we're all good friends here over here.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the Kristen kiosk. Meet Kristen. This is from them. It's an 18-minute video, and you get to hear her raspy voice say how much she loves him and how hot she thinks he is. Right? I wonder what Kristen thinks. Like, let's go to For a
I'm
second.
not gonna lie. I'll tell you what. I'd rather hear Kristen's voice than I'd rather hear Joey's voice than Kristen's. This is a train wreck of a voice over here.
Oh, she's terrible. Let's just listen to a second of it.
Who wait.
Shit, man. Get the fuck out of here. You better slow down, girl. You better stop it.
Yeah, well, I have stopped. I mean, I'm not doing anything anymore, but it is what it is.
So listen, they got me on the news real big, right?
Oh my gosh, you're all over the place.
I'm everywhere.
And the fucked up thing is like my son was like, "Mom, is that Brian?" I was like, I'm looking at I'm like, no, it's not Brian, but he's cute.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bad sign when your kids are mistaking Wade Wilson for your mother's ex-boyfriend.
Is that Brian? The one
is that Brian? He never came home with that milk he left for.
He promised me. He promised me some fruit juice or something.
My Lunchables. He never came back.
He never brought me.
Oh my god!
But yeah, so I mean, this is all stuff that you can find on phone calls from prison. And again, guys, I want to thank you all, those who are newly subscribed, those who are cross-pollination subscribers. We're going to continue to do some cool stuff. Pablo, Paul's got some great things in the pipeline that him and I talked about behind the scenes. We'll let him reveal that when the time comes, but keep watching him, keep looking for updates. I personally, I have a lot of things going on, but I'm going to have a couple of really cool forensic videos coming up with these cases. And I want to deep dive into some of the forensics that was done in this case to match him to these murders. And Ed and I, when he comes back from Africa, we're gonna dive into that. So we'll look at it from a different angle. It's like always great to see the different perspectives, and that's what's great about doing these collabs. I have one last thing that I want to ask people, and I've asked folks to do this for me, and it has nothing to do with these cases, but my son is down in Miami, and he's doing weekend DJ stuff. And I've been sharing his stuff, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to link it in the description, but I'm going to show it here. This is my son. He's 26 years old. He's a young fella, and he's got a SoundCloud. So I want everyone, if you can, go over and listen to it. Give it a heart. Give it a thumbs up. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost anything to follow him. He's got 762 followers, a couple of tracks on there. Go and check him out. It's my son. You want to support, that'd be great. I appreciate it. I've been sharing the crap out of this for him because that's my boy. I love him. And he's down in Miami, and he's trying to do some weekend gigs and do some stuff to make extra money. You know how that is.
I'm gonna go check him out right after this.
Yeah. Frankie Lick, DJ F Lick, FLIC. And that's my son, Frankie. So I wanted to do that. I promised him I would do a quick shout out. And if anybody, if you could share him on your channel or on even TikTok, I know you got like almost 800 or 1,000 or subscribers, whatever. All the young folk go over to TikTok. Me and Ed, we don't swing on polls at TikTok. We just upload our true crime stuff. Yeah. So if you can check him out, he's on SoundCloud, DJ FLIC.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all for being here. Go and subscribe and watch these videos. And thank you to the replay viewers, the moderators, and all the folks who left super chats. I know that budgets are tight nowadays, and it's tough to just throw out money to people, and I get it. But just watching the videos, engaging with them, let the ads run. It's a way to support your favorite creators. And you don't necessarily have to dip into your pocketbook or into your pocket. You could just watch and support. It's a free way to do it, right? I mean, that's
absolutely.
It's a great way to support your favorite creators. All right, on behalf of DutyRon and Jumpsuit Pablo, my good friend Paul, we want to wish you guys a good night. Remember, keep the victims in your prayers and thoughts. The family of the Ruiz, Diane Ruiz, 43 years old, killed by the hands of this monster, and Kristine Melton. Their families need strength, prayers, and positive vibes, and we send it to them here from New York and South Carolina, or wherever Paul is. He could be in an undisclosed location for a while.
I'm at the kiosk right now.
He's at the kiosk trying to load it up. Wade's got some needs over there, and Joey boy, he's sending him bullshit. He's sending him a package. He never got it. Just take your money back, Joey.
Oh, he got it. He
got it.
He got it.
All right, guys. Good night. Thanks for joining.
See ya.
Peace.